The launch of Marvel's Secret Wars kicked off decades of stories, but none would prove to be more influential than the arrival of Venom, the first symbiote, originally introduced as a simple alien spider suit. Venom, also known as the Lethal Protector, is just one of many symbiotes found across the Marvel multiverse. These creatures, called Clintar, were originally created by an ancient god named Null. They were made to help him take over the universe, but over time, they've spread across space and gained new abilities by bonding with different hosts. Some symbiotes are born from others, some are created in labs, and some even come from alternate timelines. So many have appeared that it's hard to keep track of them all in the comics. In this video, we'll cover all the major symbiotes in all of Marvel. Sit back and maybe grab some popcorn because you wouldn't want to miss any of this. Let's start with the most basic ones. Venom. Venom is perhaps the most iconic symbiote in Marvel history. Originally bonding with Spider-Man, the symbiote was rejected by Peter Parker when he discovered its dark influence. It later found Eddie Brock, a disgraced journalist, and their mutual hatred for Spider-Man made them a lethal team. Venom has slowly grown from a weak pile of goo to being a vessel of power that will determine the fate of the multiverse. While Venom originally was considered no more or less powerful than any other symbiote, after bonding with so many hosts, the pieces of each host that Venom has taken with him have powered him up to a near godlike creature. Throughout the comics, Venom has had multiple hosts including Peter Parker, Eddie Brock, Flash Thompson, and Mac Margan. From Venom came Carnage, his most tenacious, driven, and maddened offspring. Carnage is a near unstoppable monster that endures every single defeat to come back stronger than before. Carnage is originally the offspring of Venom, born when the Venom symbiote left behind a trace of itself in Eddie Brock's prison cell. While he maintains a close relationship with Cletus Cassidy, Carnage does not need a host to embrace his full strength. Before Null's return, Carnage effortlessly used the powers of the Darkhold to imbue his essence into new symbiotes that he could send out to capture potentially useful powered people. Carnage can transform into different weapons and has no sense of morality. He's even been the center of several major Marvel crossovers, including Absolute Carnage and King in Black. Now that we've discussed Venom and Carnage, it makes sense that we discuss the Life Foundation symbiotes. But what exactly are they? The Life Foundation believed that the conclusion of the Cold War would bring about a nuclear holocaust that would result in the mutually assured destruction of modern civilization. To that end, under the leadership of Carlton Drake, they constructed a large fallout shelter to provide a place for their wealthy clients to live comfortably. In order to protect their future utopian society, they created 5 symbiotes forcibly spawned from Venom: Agony, Phage, Riot, Lasher, and Scream. Each of them brought new abilities to the table. Lasher, for instance, is one of the Life Foundation symbiote siblings, with an extraordinarily interesting talent that's unfortunately dampened by an overall weak physique. This symbiote possesses the same standard brand of symbiotic abilities, although unlike naturally spawned children, it isn't considered any stronger than its parent. Despite his general lackluster powers, Lasher does have one unique ability that allows him to remotely control animal corpses. While the skill is impressive, other symbiotes have shown to be able to replicate similar abilities but on a much larger scale. Scream, on the other hand, has become the most independent of her laboratory siblings. Like the others, Scream has a unique ability that surprisingly isn't related to screaming. This symbiote is capable of trichokinesis, which allows her to manipulate her hair in battle, similar to the inhuman Medusa. However, Scream's hair is no more different than any other part of her malleable body, and her preference to use her hair is more of a stylistic choice. Despite her primary deceptive ability, Scream can also form wings and fly, a skill that is infrequently seen in other members of her species. Unlike Scream and Lasher, Phage is more combat-oriented, as he prefers to manifest his biological weapons as blades, a tactic he shares with his brother Carnage. Not many symbiotes can incorporate non-living matter into their control. However, Phage, when bonded with Lieutenant Ryko Axelson, amplified the soldier's visual awareness, allowing him to accurately shoot a target standing miles away. Riot, however, is inarguably the weakest of the group. Unlike its siblings, Riot does not possess any unique abilities or powers that separate it from the average symbiote. While Riot is a hulking beast who definitely prefers to smash around with blunt weapons, that's about all he's capable of. Considering his siblings' individual mutated properties, Riot unfortunately falls short by comparison. Lastly, we have Agony, the final member of the Life Foundation spawn. Agony has the most specialized skills of the rest of her artificially spawned siblings. Agony's metabolism can break down the neurotransmitter chemicals that symbiotes need to survive and transform them into acid that she can spit at her targets. Likewise, she can absorb foreign chemicals that can be used for her acid attacks. It's been described that Agony's acid can burn through most matter, but the true extent of her powers has yet to be defined. After Scream killed the host of her siblings, the remaining symbiotes, Agony, Lasher, Phage, and Riot, fused to form Hybrid. Capable of using all the unique abilities of the Life Foundation symbiotes, Hybrid shows what could have been had Venom been able to naturally spawn the siblings as a single child. Despite the 4 independent personalities concurrently existing at once, Hybrid can control its host's emotions, allowing the symbiotic relationship to exist semi-peacefully. Then came Toxin, who has the most potential of any symbiote known today. The spawn of Carnage, Toxic is the 1000th symbiote in his genetic lineage. The symbiote possesses all the same powers as Carnage, but amped up by a significant margin. In addition to his power boost, Toxin is resistant to fire, sonic waves, and anti-symbiote chemicals. Toxin can track any organic being, not just other symbiotes, and possesses poisonous fangs. It's expected that Toxin could eventually be stronger than Null, but he has yet to fully show that potential in the comics. Among the stranger symbiotes is Zix, a mutant symbiote detained by the Shi'ar Empire, who considers the alien one of the Empire's most dangerous criminals. Unlike most of its kind, Zix fully consumes its host's brains rather than feeding off their adrenaline. Unfortunately, the consequences of this biological necessity, nor any other deviations of the symbiote's powers, have been seen in the comics. While the concept of a symbiote possessing the X gene is an amazingly interesting one, Zix falls flat for its lack of applied uniqueness. Besides Zix, there's Scorn, another one of Carnage's spawn with unique properties that has never been seen in any other symbiote. When Scorn was spawned, she was infused into an experimental prosthesis, designed to use symbiote matter instead of internal circuitry for seamless control over the limb. As with most spawn, Scorn is naturally stronger, more durable, and has faster regenerative abilities compared to her father. Most impressively, Scorn can fuse herself with any type of machinery and does not require an organic host to move. Additionally, she has an unprecedented ability to exist inside and manipulate cyberspace. Of all the symbiotes we've discussed so far, Mania is rather unique as it wasn't born, but rather created. Mania, rather than being an official symbiote spawn, is actually a clone of Venom created from tissue collected from his tongue. Mania was originally designed by the Ararat Corporation to be used to exterminate all life on Earth. When Mania was first spawned, it had no interest in bonding with a host, instead killing its potential host simply for the joy of doing so. Despite her violent disposition, Mania does not possess any skills that would differentiate her from the standard symbiote. Next up, we have Grendel and his mother. Grendel was one of Null's first true symbiotes sent into the stars to find habitable worlds for the Elder God to consume into his infinite darkness. Grendel is a rare class of symbiote that is able to take on a draconic form, something only the strongest symbiotes are capable of. The beast is nearly immortal and capable of spawning a near infinite number of offshoots. While not technically spawn, these offshoots have served to create hundreds if not thousands of new symbiotes to be used in Null's resurrection. Big Mother is Null's first true independent symbiote. As with her son, Big Mother is a symbiote dragon, with the same near-immortal traits Grendel possesses. Additionally, Big Mother can breathe fire hot enough to burn underwater and can supposedly use magic. In the heat of the Vietnam War, the US government took samples from the symbiote dragon Grendel. These samples were forcibly spawned into new symbiotes that were then bonded to soldiers. Of these symbiotes, Tyrannosaurus stands out as the most powerful and in control of the group. When Null arrived on Earth, Tyrannosaurus was one of the few symbiotes that were able to resist the Elder God's influence. In addition to his combat skills and mental fortitude, Tyrannosaurus has the rare ability to take on the form of a human without the need of a host. Rascal is a younger symbiote who's currently bonded to Normie Osborn, the grandson of Norman Osborn. The symbiote, which is quite young and immature, was given to Normie by Dylan Brock during an effort to help Eddie Brock. While using the Rascal symbiote, Normie has taken on the mantle of the Red Goblin again, as a nod to his time bonded with the Carnage symbiote. Another important figure in the symbiote lineage is Anti-Venom, who's pretty well known among fans. Anti-Venom is a white symbiote created when Eddie Brock was cured of cancer by Mr. Negative, which fused the leftover venom cells in his body with his immune system. It has powerful healing abilities and can cure diseases and destroy other symbiotes. Eddie fully controls it. The original Anti-Venom was destroyed, but it was later recreated by Flash Thompson, who died and was later revived during Null's invasion. A piece of Anti-Venom was also combined with Carnage to create a new symbiote called Misery. Now that we've mentioned Misery, we should talk about him as well. Created by a fusion of a Carnage strain and the Anti-Venom serum, Misery is exactly as powerful as could be expected. Capable of all of Carnage's feats, as well as the Anti-Venom traits, Misery is a lethal weapon. However, the two hybrid strands rarely prefer to work together. At one point, during Carnage's resurrection of Null, Misery fused with the Life Foundation's hybrid symbiote and Toxin to create a massive amalgamated mutant symbiote called Madness. When fully fused, Madness has all the powers of each individual symbiote that makes up its biology. There are some other symbiotes as well, but we can talk about them in another video. Till then, sayonara!